you don't get my effing money now, I am gonna come to your house and I'm gonna rip your throat out. I know where your children go to school.
Just not do it today then. Just be not bad. Just sat up and just you fucking show up late.
I wasn't late. I was fucking work
you
at
were
6 o'clock.
fucking 40 minutes late.
I was in work at 6 o'clock. I said I could have been here at 7, but needed food.
You said you were in work to 5.
Rossi
And
needed
I
a
had
wee
6.
cream egg McFlurry.
You sent a Snapchat at 10 to 6. And they were at home.
How's it going, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Here's the Craic podcast, started by a domestic incident. Without further ado, we're just going to get straight into this. Start the thing off. Tommy's question time. Roll that intro. Let's go.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the greatest show on earth.
It's Tommy's question time.
This is going to be so bad with this glass on glass.
How about I smash the glass over your fat fucking head?
Go for it.
You show up late and you're just like, oh
Right,
yeah.
ask your
I'll
question.
fucking complain
Let's
about
go.
everything. Let's go. What's the worst customer service experience you've ever had? Where like you were working in customer service and someone was an absolute dickhead?
You're on the receiving end of it, or?
Yeah, receiving end. You received. Go.
Probably.
It's bound to be one that sticks out. No?
Yeah, well, there's been a few times, but the main one was whenever we worked in Carphone. You know the way in Carphone and all them phone shops, you have all the phones on the table. Yeah. And like they all were plugged into like chargers and all. And there's one time I came out the back and I was like overseeing a shift, and there was 2 or 3 other ones out in the shop floor. And this guy was like, we always didn't allow people to charge their phones on like people would have come in and unplugged the phones and like charged them. Yeah. But there was this guy and he had done it, and I kind of let him away with it. I was like, right, I'm not going to bother. But then he was on the phone, and I think he was like drunk or high or something. But he was on the phone, and the next minute he just started he phoned this person, and he was basically, listen, if you don't get my effing money now, I am going to come to your house and I'm going to rip your throat out and all this here. He was like, and then he was like, I know where your children go to school and all this here, like proper threatening. And then there was like people in the shop, so I walked over and I was like, listen mate, like you can't, like you're gonna have to go. Like I was like, I don't mind you charging your phone there, you're not supposed to. And he was like, well, he effing well told me I could, and like spoke to this other guy, and I was like, what? And then he was like, you're coming over here trying to act like Billy Big Balls and all. And I was like, that's where it started around me. And I was like, I'm just telling you, like you're using foul language, like and there's kids and all in the store. I was like, you have to go. Like. Then he was like, aye, Billy Big Balls, you'll not be telling me what to do. And he was like 5'0" and at that stage I was just like, I'm not taking this from you. So I was just like, mate, I'm going to call security, like if you're not going to get out. And I called security, and security came in all, and they were a bunch of them wusses. Like they were like, we're going to have to escort you off the premises, but like couldn't touch him or anything, like just had to like basically like as if they're going in for a hug. And he was just screaming across the shop at me, and I was like, Billy Big Balls, and I'll see you outside and all out there. And I just literally looked over at him and I was like, you will too out there. And he was like, what the F you say, and started like, then he broke away from the security guard and like came walking over, and I thought to myself, right, I'm gonna have to like walk towards him or something. So I walked towards him, and he like walked over, like you know that scene from like the Jake Paul Logan Paul fight where like Jake Paul storms and like walks over, but then he like stops himself. Yeah. He like stopped, and I was just like, why are you being so, like I wasn't even annoyed, I was just like, why are you being such a tramp? Get out, no one cares. And then he left, and then like later on the night he came walking through the tower centre and like looked in the window at me and gave me these dirty looks as if like, I'll see you outside, mate. And I said, you will too. But yeah, that was probably the worst. Like I've had plenty of other stories, but
what about you?
Do you fight him whenever you get out?
No, I fair eggs behind the McDonald's.
I never really had anything that stands out, but see, like working in the bookies, I think you get a lot of it, but like you're sort of used to it, so it's just second nature there. You know? But I've had a few people come up to me and like there's one guy who came up to me in like the Newry shop I was working in one day, and he just walks in like, and he just for no reason just goes, "You're a fucking stupid cunt." And I was like, "What?" Like looking around, and he goes, "Who the fuck are you?" Because I didn't work there. He just, "Who the fuck are you?" I was just telling him like it was, and I was like, I work in the Katie shop, what's wrong? Like, wait, what did I do to you? And he's just like, fuck way off. But I was sitting on my own, like he's just being real fucking ignorant to me. I thought he was gonna like fucking stab me or something. Yeah. And then like the ones came around from like there was one of the odd person people working there. They were like out the back. They came around and they were like, oh no, that's just him. Like he just says that to people. Like. Yeah. And then like it was just he just walked away and that was it. Like. But like
He just says that to people.
He just comes up and just randomly walks up to people and fucking like assaults them.
Do you not think working in a retail shop was just like made you like expect so little of some people sometimes? Like?
I think it's good character building. Like. I think everyone should work in customer service. Like.
What about you?
Fuck, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good one. Like. There's been a few ones where I'm just like, you're such a dickhead. Like there's one time I worked in a shop and like this guy just came and I was like serving him, like, you know, like just like Mullins, and it's just one of them shops where you just quickly in and out. Like. This guy scanned this guy's stuff and was like, right, and then he's like, I give him his change and he's like, oh, here, keep the change and buy yourself a personality.
He said that to you?
Yeah. And I was like, no, because he goes, keep the change. And like, you know, in the shop, like if someone has a bit of change, they'll be like, oh, will you just throw that in the box or whatever? He's like, oh, keep the change. And I was like, alright, cheers. And then he's like, yeah, and buy yourself a personality. And I just looked at him. I was like, what?
Gotcha,
like, what the fuck do you want? The fucking comedy set when you're getting your shopping scan? Then there was an odd time.
Kiss you on your cheek.
In that same shop, like some guy came in and got like electric. You know the way you get the wee paper, like receipt? And I got him electric or whatever. And he came in and like got it and I was ground, and then he came back like 10 minutes later and he's like, I got electric here, £20 electric or whatever it was, and he's like, and you didn't give me a receipt? And I was like, the Daphne did, like. And he's like, no, you didn't. And I was like, I Daphne did. And like he was pure like, no, you didn't and all. And then he had to go and get a manager and make a whole scene. And the manager, like one of the manager girls that worked there at the time, was a fucking dick as it is. So she was pure loving it, and she was like, oh yeah, like you're a fucking dick. She was like, what, like why haven't you given him a receipt and making a whole scene? And I was like, I did. I'm pretty sure it is. She's like, well, are you pretty sure? Are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I did. Like. So then she gave him a receipt and all. 10 minutes later he comes back. It was in like the side pocket of his car. And he's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry and all. And he's like, oh, if I've got you in trouble and all. And I was like, well, I knew you give it to you, like. I was like,
why would you even come in and give someone like start a fucking scene like that anyway?
And then he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was just like, it's dead on, like at least he had the fucking, at least he came back.
Yeah.
And said sorry, like. I was sort of like,
fuck, I wouldn't have came back.
Oh no, you'd be mortified, wouldn't you? So I sort of respected him for that, like.
I come in clean and being honest.
But then like working in like I worked for Vodafone in like a call centre. Oh my god, that there was a nightmare. Like I remember there's one time this guy was looking like his phone, like a SIM card change, so it had like his phone number or whatever. And I was like, yeah, or no, he was looking like he had a SIM only, and he was looking to change to like pay as you go or something. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's dead on. This was on a Sunday, and I was like, yeah, well, look, we could have the new SIM out on Tuesday, because like obviously Monday next day. And he was like, no, I want it done now. And I was like, what do you mean? And I was like, that's not possible. And he's like, yeah, it is. He's like, can you not just change it from a SIM only to? And I was like, no, like you need a new SIM card. And he's like, well, I want it done now. And like had a whole big argument with him for about half an hour, like. And then he's like, well, I want the SIM to me tomorrow. And I was like, well, I can't get it till you tomorrow. Like I was like, it's Sunday. It's like the soonest I can get you is Tuesday. And I was like, if you want, you can come and collect it in the store on a Monday if you're that urgent for it. And he's like, well, I'm in a wheelchair and like that's so awkward for me to do that and all, like. And just absolutely calling me all the things under the sun. And I was like, no way, Jose. That's what that job didn't last so long. And did you know like there's like, did you know like Scottish and all have this whole thing against like the Irish, like? So like
who?
No,
the like ones from
Scottish people
have this whole thing against Ireland and all, so like that you're all lazy bastards. So he was all like, oh, you're Irish and all, like I know you were a lazy cunt and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, hello,
can I get a bit of
he's like, I'll just
patience?
fucking magically switch your SIM into a number one. But yeah,
there's so many times people in like retail shops could just like honestly take it so far to the point where you just felt like smacking them. Like, why are you like this? Like, why are you honestly? There was one girl, and I swear every time she came in, people were like, no, like drew straws. She just came in for a row. Like, remember you worked for Vodafone, so you probably know, like O2 at the time, you could upgrade someone, like if they come out of a contract but didn't want to change their phone or like didn't know what they wanted to do, you could like downgrade them to an O2 SIM only. Yeah. And even if it was a 12-month SIM, you could upgrade them after 3 months as long as they were staying with O2. You could upgrade them back to a phone contract again.
Right. Yeah.
So I had said to the girl, she came in and she was like, I don't want to spend money, I don't want to do this. And like, I was like 17, 18 at the time, so I thought I was doing the right thing. I was like, listen, I'm going to downgrade you before you leave to like a SIM only. I was like, and in 6 months time you discover that there's a phone you want, I was like, you can come back in and upgrade with O2, it's no problem. And that was grand. I shit, you know what, 9 months later she came back in again and she was like, I'm here for my free phone. And I was like, what? She was like, you told me I just had to wait for 6 months and I get a free phone. And I was like, no, I said I'm going to downgrade you so you pay less until you decide, and then you can come in and like get a free upgrade. I was like, you're not going to get a free phone. She's like, you told me I could get a free phone. And I was like, no. She was like, well, this is the phone I want. And it was like the iPhone 10 Pro Max. Yeah. And I was like, no way,
well, you may
Jose. I was like, you may get that fat wad out. Like. And she was like, no, I want this. You promised me I could get, you could give me this. And I was like, no, I didn't. And then she just ended up having a rowlet and then left. And she was like, I will be calling your management. And I was like, rip and tear on ahead, honestly. Like, them people, you just have to go, right? Go on ahead.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, working in call centres, like, you'll get ones who just come on and like you say no to them, and they're like, I want to speak to your manager. And you're like, my manager's going to tell me you the same thing as me. They're proper toxic. Like,
see people who come into shops and stuff, and their first like I remember there was always boys, especially in around Ballymena and all, like mainly just old men. They would have come in and they were just like, listen, I'm gonna just bypass you, I want the best discount possible, so like, why don't you just swan on out there and get a manager to deal with me? And I was just like, how important do you think you are? Like, how honestly important do you think you are? And they were just like, yeah, not doing that. Like, and I was like, right, whatever, going ahead. But yeah, retail,
it's a no-no.
It's a no-no. Have you always worked in the bookies?
You made the bookies?
Yeah, but I've had other jobs too, and then like during it, and worked for my dad down the farm before that.
Yeah.
We farmer
like
by
13 or something.
Don't want mic up, because you're gonna be not picked up on here. I can see you flatlining. Dun dun dun. Bitch. So another topic we wanted to discuss, and Shay, you could probably give more insight because like you've done the uni thing. Me and Thomas are finishing uni very, very soon. Next week we'll see it all over and done with.
Yes, sir.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you?
10,000. Can't wait.
What like, for you've obviously done uni, like what's the sort of feeling after you've completed it?
I'm not completed it yet.
I thought you were.
No.
Are you out in like a placement?
I'm out. Well, part 1 finished, like, but I have to go back and do part 2
for how long?
Another 2 years.
Oh no,
money couldn't pay me.
Your course is so weird though.
I don't want to go back.
You do like a few years and then stop and have to like work and then you come back. It's not like a placement year and then you're like automatically just come back. Like.
Yeah. You actually have to reapply to the course and all.
Yeah.
See all the people who like go on to do like so much studying after they finish their degree. I'm like, how do you do it? Because
you need to have a proper passion for it, huh? Like shit.
You need to be so focused on, you know, where you're going. But like you're pretty tuned in, like you're good at what you do, like. So like obviously that's understandable. Like if you're passionate about it, you're gonna get to it. But like we were talking to 2 boys the other day, and they were just like, yeah, we're thinking after we finish the degree, we're gonna go back and do the masters. And me and him were just both looking at each other like, no
way, Jose. I'd rather die.
Unless you were with an employer and someone said to you, if you go do your masters, you're gonna get paid an extra 30 grand. Yeah. You know what I mean? You'd be like, right, sign me up. Where do I sign? But like the idea of going back and studying is just completely not really. Like, how has your uni experience been? Because obviously me and you done it quite a bit. Ours about face. Like we went done 2 years at Belfast Met and then 2 years at Ulster.
Yeah, it's alright. I think I don't really feel like I've necessarily learned that much. I feel like marketing's the type of thing like you could have learnt yourself. Like at the way it is now is like it's all digital, where with like Facebook ads and Google ads and all that sort of thing, and like you really need to know your way about like social media platforms and all. But I feel like you don't really learn practical things in uni. Like you learn more about like analysing like business environments and like the macro and micro environment. But like it's like that, like if you do think about it, and you're like, it can be like useful. Like we're working on that go-to-market strategy at the minute. Like I look at it and I'm like, you can take things from it for your own like business, like, or like, you know, it makes you think about things. Whereas like there's so many modules we've done where you're like, when the fuck am I going to use this? I just think all courses in uni should be like the way the NHS courses, where like you go to uni and then like you spend a few months in uni and then a few months out working every year, and you're actually like developing the skills, like. And then like I think there should be something where like businesses would that like take on like whatever it is, actually say, right, like we'll take certain amount of people every year and employ them, you know, the way like anyone who does an NHS course, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're pretty much walking into a job once you're finished.
Yeah.
Whereas I think it should be like all uni degrees, because like the way it's going now, like uni means fuck all now, because like it's went from a stage where nobody went to uni back, like say our parents, like nobody went to uni, everyone done trades, where I think now it's got back to the stage where everyone feels like they have to go to uni and no one's going doing trades. So like now tradesmen are getting higher money and there's a higher demand for tradesmen.
Yeah.
Like if you talk to any tradesman, like they're saying I can't find anyone. Like if they're looking to hire someone, they're like, you can't find any men. Like it's ridiculous. Like I just think it's more high school, I think, is the problem, because like they don't like really show you the paths you could have taken. Like,
yeah, like I know from the school I came from, there was a lot of teachers, to be fair, were very like supportive, but there were some of them teachers where they were like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm going to Belfast, mate. And like there's nothing bad about it, but like, so how, like I just look at how many of the teachers were like, oh, you're tech, and you're like, why do you say it like that? Like what's wrong with tech?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like, why is that so bad? But like so many teachers are just like, oh yeah, you're like, what are you doing? I'm doing a foundation degree through Belfast, mate. And it's like, oh, you're going to tech, and you're like, yeah. Sweet, thanks.
That's just the way teachers are. Like I think in our high school anyway, like it's, I don't mean to come across as a dick, but like I feel like teachers would have just been like, if you're stupid you go to tech, if you're smart you go to uni.
Yeah.
Whereas like they don't actually like, I think that like there's careers where you definitely have to go to uni, like.
Yeah.
Like the likes of like health courses, and if you want to be a doctor or do something like actuary or law or something like that, or like architecture, I don't know if you'll agree, I don't know what way it is, but like I just think there's careers like ours where like we would have been so much better doing like a, what do you call it?
Practical.
What do you call that thing? Like a apprenticeship.
Well, what made you do architecture? What got you into architecture?
Don't really know. Just always was sort of artistic and had a bit of a flair for the housing market, like, so sort of just decided one day, fuck sure, bring the two together and draw houses.
Your ones are in real estate, like.
Yeah, so I think that's what sort of came.
But do you think with your course, like, do you ever think like, if I actually wanted to do this, I probably could have taught myself certain things?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, do you think, is there anything that you take from uni that you're like, there's no way I could have learnt this myself? Like? Do you know what I mean?
No, there's absolutely none you learn in uni that you couldn't have learnt on your own.
Yeah.
Or like you learn 90% whenever you're working. Like.
Yeah.
Like they give you they don't even give you the basics in uni. They just tell you what you need to learn, and you go to YouTube and learn it. Like.
Exactly.
Same with every course seems to be these days. Like.
But like theoretically, in a uni course, when you really, like, especially ours, there's a lot of stuff where you probably could not go to class, and then when the lecturer sets the assignment, it's like, yeah, that's based on lecture 12. You just have to go back and watch lecture 12.
I just think like it's hard as well, because like when you're younger you feel like it's just the next step, like.
Yeah. Like
going to uni, but like I look at it more as like a thing of, I don't think I would have been ready to go into work coming out of high school. Like I think like that these 4 years have like made me realise like sort of what I want to do and where I stand. Whereas like I feel like if it went straight into the work out of high school or whatever, it would have probably fucking racked my head. Like.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I'd been ready for like a full-time job, so that's where I think uni's been good. Whereas now I'm sort of like glad to see the back end of it. Like.
I'm so glad.
It's nearly good. So like people at that age have a few years just to cool off, like.
Yeah.
But one thing I don't understand is why people get a lend of money from like the government or whatever, the bank, they get a student loan to go to uni, but people can't like come out of school and get a loan to do anything else, like say start up their own business.
Yeah.
And like realistically, like 50% of the people go to uni just go to uni for the crack, like.
Exactly.
And you get a loan for it, and they never pay it back.
How many people drop out as well? Not just like after a few years of partying, or like, yeah, I don't want to do this.
Like that should nearly be an alternative route too. Like, say someone wanted to start their own business, like give the same sort of loan, the same amount, for 3 years or whatever, to someone who wants to start their own business and do something like that there, rather than going to uni.
Yeah, I think education's where it's probably like high school. This is very much like, I don't think they have enough variety. Like, I don't think they really teach people like what you're meant to be doing. And you see a lot of people coming out now, even out at uni, and they're like, I don't know what I'm meant to be doing. Like, I don't, like, do I get a job?
But that's the way of it. Like, you're gonna like that's exactly what I said to you there the other day. Like, I've studied marketing for how long? Like 4 years, and I'm like, I don't even know like what I'm interested in. Like, it's kind of scary enough when you realize that you're coming to the penultimate finish of literally everything. But like, coming out of school was kind of like, whenever I look back at it, people were like, why'd you study marketing? And like, I kind of understood, because it was like sales and stuff, and then at the time it was the end of the photography, so it seemed like the natural sort of progression. But at the same time, I was a bit like, am I just picking this just because I'm struggling for something to do?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's all about rush, isn't it?
Yeah.
What did you want to do whenever you were younger?
Architecture.
What do you want to do?
Fuck, I went through so many stages.
I wanted to do quantity surveying.
There's actually a stage where I wanted to be an architect, and then I realised I had to do like art and all for GCSE and A-level, and I was like, no.
You don't even. It's mad that they tell you that, because there's so many.
That's what put me off.
I was the same. Like, I done art in GCSE, and like, teachers were like, oh, you have to do it at A-level, you have to do it at A-level, but like, my mum was like, you're not doing art at A-level. Like.
Yeah.
You'll not do it. Like. And then went into uni, and there was people who didn't even fucking do art at GCSE.
Yeah.
Like, the people doing like just subjects with absolutely no correlation with architecture at all. And people who weren't even getting like the grades to get into uni. It was weird, like.
Yeah.
Like, fucking hell.
And then I watched Suits. I was really into Suits when I was younger, and I was like, gonna be a solicitor, gonna be Harvey Specter, like. And then I went on, like, you know, like, is it like in between
Lewis Lit?
Yeah, it's more Lewis Lit than Harvey Specter probably. But like, your GCSEs, like, you go on, like, you get to do, what is it, like a week's placement or something.
Yeah.
Like, I went to like a solicitor's, like.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I mean, I went for one day, and I was like, no way, like, there's literally people going into like courtrooms with suitcases full of paper, and like, I got there at like 9 o'clock or whatever it was, or 8 o'clock, and like, your guy sat down like just this legal document, like just with like, it was like some law. He's like, oh, if you want to read through that, like. And it was literally like, looked like it had been done on a typewriter, like just black white paper and this black, and I was like, what am I like, am I just meant to be enjoyable, like what am I meant to be learning? And then he was like, yeah, like, driving to the court, and he's like, yeah, like, you could be like called in like at like 1 o'clock in the morning if you have a client that gets arrested. And he's like you're just non-stop working. Fun. Like, and talking about how shit his life is. I'm just sitting there like, how do you do this, like? Did
you just walk in and was like, sorry, where's Meghan Markle?
Yeah, I was just like, where is the big sky high building with my fucking glass office and my whiskey fucking cupboard? That was like a fucking realization. But if I hadn't done that, I could have. But like, law as well is fucking like A-level and shit. Like, you would have had the proper pull out of the bag. But then I just realized I was interested in business, and like marketing is sort of the most creative side of business. So I was like, I think that's for me.
What would you say, like, coming now is getting really flipping deep? What was your, like, what's the kind of moment where you like taught like your biggest, not life lesson, but like, what was the moment like of realization? Like, if you ever came to that like moment where you're like, frick, what am I doing? Or like, what I want to do? Or like, have you ever like learned something from doing something, like where you're like, oh, that was stupid? Or like, you know what I mean?
But like, on what terms? Like,
it's just in general.
It's so broad though.
Yeah.
In life, like, not career. Like, there's probably nothing you've done in your like life where you've like wanted like career.
Such a deep question.
I don't know. I'm thinking about it now, and I'm like, I genuinely have no clue. I genuinely don't have a clue. Like, people always talk about these moments in their life where they're like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe that happened. Like, that really taught me a lesson. And I'm like, I don't think, I'm actually scared if that moment comes. Do you know what I mean? You mess up or anything, like, that's scary. You know what I mean?
Of course you're scared of it. Worry about.
I think more people need to just try things. Like, I think like that's what I probably learned. Like, even with us with this podcast, like, we actually tried it and we've enjoyed doing it, and it's done decent enough. And then like with the MK Fitness stuff, is like, I just thought it was just an idea that I thought, yeah, I'll fucking give it a go. I think that's a very much like just adopted that mentality of things, of just like trying whatever I want to try now. When I'm in like my 20s, I'm just going to try as much things as I can and figure out what I want to do. Like, that's what I think the problem is now. Like, I think like everyone thinks they have to go to uni and figure know what they need to do when they're in their mid-20s, like in their early 20s, whereas like I don't think I'm not going to put any pressure on myself to like I'm like 30. Like your 20s should be figuring out what you want to do, like, and trying all the different things you want. Whereas like everyone's like, oh, I need to go to uni, and then after uni it's like I need to get a job, and then it's like I need to get a house, and then it's like I need to get married. It's like fuck that shit, like just figure out what you want to do and do it. Like try different things, like instead of just getting into a job and just thinking, right, this is it.
Inspiring
Take
words,
risks.
Gary V.
Wait till you're about 40 to start your career.
But like that's it. Like it's like everyone, like one thing that I would say is like everyone looks up to these big fucking businessmen, like the likes of ones who started your buddy started Gymshark and all that shit. But like the likes of like your buddy started Nike. When he was 25, he went traveling the world, and he didn't like Nike didn't become Nike till he was near 40. Like things like that. It's like you don't have to have it all figured out. Like just, I don't know, try different things.
The Gymshark one's always one that you look at and you're like, holy moly. But do you notice now there's these sort of like wave of entrepreneurs where that's now shifted from this kind of serious, really serious business entrepreneur to now like I met a fella running the fella, and he runs like one of the biggest like haulage networks in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Like hauls across like from Larne and all.
Hauling ass.
He was a nice fella. Hauling ass, back that thing up. But he was like really nice, but he was so like traditional like businessman, like came in a suit and like everything was what's VAT and all this here, and like writing all this stuff down, and was like such a serious businessman. But then like I'm not saying that these people aren't serious, but like you look at the likes at your guy that does Gymshark, or like even look at the likes of like Chris Suter and all that we talk to, or like Nico and all, like they're all running their own business, but they're more sort of
Mark Zuckerberg, Socks and Sandals, non-profit sort of vibes.
Do you feel like them people's like the personality sells the business more than?
But that's like I think what you're saying now is like more people having like their personal brands. Like it's you should have your own brand. Like everyone should have a brand. Like if that makes sense. Yeah. Rather than like that's what you see with Chris Suter. Like Chris Suter like does the suits and all, but like at the same time he's also Chris Suter on Instagram, and like he's built that brand and has such a good following that like when he does decide to do the likes of the coffee, it will do well because he's his own brand and people follow him because of like who he is, and like he's showing you, basically giving you an insight on his life, and that's probably why Pride and Pinion's done so well, because of Nico. Like people want to come in and like see him and like have like it's the same like with Ryan Cullen on the podcast. Like people go to Ryan Cullen because they want to like be in his shop, and like it's the atmosphere, and like what you're going, like you're like people buy an experience now, like, and it's like like if Ryan Cullen didn't have the brand he's built, like his personal brand, like no one like would be going to him.
I could be as good as he is at cutting
like
hair,
he'd just be like any other barber, like
yeah.
You know what I mean? Not that no one would be going to him, like he just would be the same as everyone else. So.
Yeah. Oh my word! What the frick?
Time to wake up.
The dinner's ready.
Pause.
Was that your question then at the start? What's your weirdest moment in retail? Or did you have
what do you
more
mean?
thought-provoking?
That was just the question. I thought it would be an interesting discussion.
It was pretty interesting. I will have you know.
What would be your advice then, Shay?
Oh yeah, no, I've re-engaged
have you got
the camera.
Any advice
For what?
Like you were saying.
I feel like since I have probably like I think I've always grown up, and the way I've always sort of known it was you go to uni, you come out, you get a job, you work your way up, and then along the lines of that you do all the stuff. Yeah. And like, don't get me wrong, there's people I know who are like getting married, like people from my school are getting married, and that's like wow. And like, but one thing I don't like
you next year.
But like one thing I don't like is whenever people like, I feel like there's this sort of thing where people are like looking out for like and like judging themselves off other people. But like at the same time I would flip that on its head, where I know so many people are like, what the heck are they getting married for? Yeah. And it's like, why do you care? Like, focus on yourself. Do you know what I mean? I feel like everybody is so concerned about what everyone else is doing that like you struggle now then to sort of identify what you want to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know I'm going to try and get into like a marketing role and really give it a go to see if I'm actually interested in it or not. But like so many people are like, oh, that'll be you set for like life. Yeah. And you're sitting there going, no, it won't, because if I do this for a year, 2 years, 3 years, I could turn around and make a complete and utter U-turn and be like, no, I don't. And like, to be honest with you, I feel like if you asked me that 6 months ago, I think I would have been a bit more stressed about it. But now that I'm coming out of uni and there's sort of like the clouds are clearing and there's a bit more of I actually feel now coming out of uni less stressed because I'm like, I have time to know what I want to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I always think studying like quite a broad degree's useful as well, because like any business you don't always see, but like all these employers as well asking for 3 years experience. We're looking someone young and enthusiastic with 3 years experience. It's like, what? Like what?
It's ridiculous.
What are you looking for here? Like, and then it's like, oh, we need a year's experience, and you must have experience in this, and a big long list. And you're thinking like, most people go to uni and have work experience for like 8 months, or if you go to Belfast Met, you get it for like 4. How are you going to have all that experience? Like, I know you can learn a pile of stuff at home, like do all your Google, like for us it would be all the Google certificates and stuff, but like realistically, I feel like employers expect so much of people now.
And I think it's just like we were saying before, I think it's just because so many people are going to uni now, it's like it's got so competitive where like you do have people who are doing internships and shit like during uni and like getting that experience.
Yeah.
Like I had a meeting with one of my lecturers basically like talking about career, and she basically was saying like she just was like, you don't really like, you're competing with like everyone in the UK for a job. Like.
Yeah.
Because like you'd think, oh, like you see people going to like Liverpool and Manchester and all, it's like there's people from England coming to Belfast for jobs. Like you just think that you're in this wee bubble where like it's just you and your classmates looking for jobs, where it's like that's not the case.
Yeah. I think Belfast is getting so big for tech, like all that data and like digital and like cyber and all that there. Like I genuinely think Belfast is going to be like at the minute, if you look at it, the amount of people who are getting into like cyber, because like that is going to be the new, so many people are coming into Belfast, like many big companies who are like all that like cyber security and cyber risk and all are all coming into it. Do you know what I mean? But like you don't obviously have to be interested in that, but at the same time it's like when you look at it, I think like so many people are like, I'm leaving Northern Ireland because it doesn't have a lot to offer, and I genuinely think it kind of does.
Yeah. No, I don't really agree with that. No.
And then all this stuff where it's like, I'm going to England because it's better paid. Yeah, it's better paid, but then you're paying more for living.
Yeah, that does my head in. It's like people are like, yeah, the money's so much better up in Dublin, and it's like, yeah, well, how much is your fucking rent?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It's like people, like when people say it, I'm like, yeah, oh, I'm going over to London and I'm getting 30 grand a year, but my one bed apartment is £1,000 a month.
That's all. That's all that matters to people, is the sort of title. Where if like you meet someone in the street and they ask you what you're doing, and like me and you turn around, and go, I'm an architect for such and such, and we go like, oh, I'm a marketing executive. It's like, well, I'm a marketing executive for some place in London, and you automatically, your brain's gonna go, you must be doing well for yourself, but realistically, they're probably living inside of a flipping fridge.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Here's your one bed apartment for £800 a month.
Yeah.
Hope you like sleeping in the shower.
Have you any life lessons to add to that, Shay? Any advice?
I would just say, don't always try too hard.
Yeah.
Like, don't always put in like all your effort into something. Like I see like, so many people just like spending so much time, and they've like such a direct vision to know what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
They spend all their time and then just don't think about anything else.
I quite like the way you sort of talk like a year out and just sort of like, yeah, I'm just gonna.
Because like one thing I think, like people are always working towards something, and never like stop to look around. Like, so cliched to say, like, but like realistically, whenever you're speaking to an adult, like, they never tell you, oh, your 40s are the best time of your life. They tell you high school's the best time of your life. You know, things like that there.
Yeah.
Like your younger years, but everyone these days is so set and like career driven at like 21 and all that there shit. Like,
do you think like LinkedIn is breeding that culture?
I don't know. I think it's more social media. Like I think people only really show their highlights. Really, like I think that I don't think people realise it's like everyone sees, oh, like they have such a nice car, they have their business or whatever, and they're doing so well. It's like they don't see the work that they've put in to get there. Like.
Yeah.
Like you, like the way like the likes of Nico, like he's like pride and pinion now, and he's blowing up on YouTube, and like he's a nice car and all, but like he's talking to Chris Suter, like everyone starts from the same place. Like it's just people just don't want to put the work in.
Yeah.
Like
that thing that who was it? Someone commented on one of our TikToks and was like, "What about you three? Get a job."
Yeah.
Like that riles me, because you're just sitting there going like, yeah, the three of us have jobs, but at the same time, like the likes of like. I guarantee you the same person, like the likes of that fella Adam B, he'll be commenting like, how about instead of running about with a camera, you get a job? And it's like, he could probably buy you. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. But people don't appreciate, like, to get to those places you have to do.
Yeah.
Like, you look at Adam B and you're like, yeah, he's so young and he's so big on YouTube now, but like, he's been doing that since he was in high school. Like, he's probably put like 2 or 3 years of work in to getting where he is.
Yeah.
Like, everyone starts, like, that's what fucks me off. It's like people are like so envious, and it's like even like big influencers and all, like everyone starts with 0 followers.
Yeah.
Just because you're not willing to put the work in to get there doesn't mean.
It's 3 stages, isn't it? It's the first stage is the just laugh at you. The second stage is they're like, oh, hold on, this guy's actually doing something. And the third stage is, oh, I want to be friends with him.
Yeah.
That's just the circle of life.
Yeah.
Oh, what I seen.
That'll be us.
Sick quote, and it was like, it's a bit.
17.90
It's
in
a
the
proper
TikTok account. No
motivation.
Don't mean to brag anybody.
It's like the people trying to tear you down will be the people, like, what is it? It's basically like people who were like slagging you off. Like, when you actually do something with yourself, they'll be telling their friends that they know a story about how they know you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like this is a proper, like,
this is a deep
conversation.
But then this is what
it's
you want.
This
is what you want. I don't think this. I think we kind of think that whenever we finish these podcasts, that we're like, oh, that was so funny. That was a really good podcast because we were all in tears. But then sometimes it's like, no, like that's the thing. Here's the crack. It's all about.
This is probably one of the most serious podcasts we've done, I think. But yeah, it feels good. If you'd like to see more serious, depressing content.
What final advice then, if you're in uni or if you're coming out of high school?
I think just try as many things as you can and figure out what you want to do, like, and don't worry about anyone else. Like don't be influenced by those around you. Like, everyone's.
But at the same time, don't get tunnel vision and just set your sights on something.
Like that's what I mean. Like try
different things.
Like try, like, you could try something and think, like, just try different things. Like, you could be surprised. There could be something that you pick up and you're like, I'm actually really good at this, and then you could make a career out of it. Or like, it doesn't. Like, that's
exactly.
I think that's one thing I found with the video editing recently. Like, that's something I never thought I'd do. Like.
Yeah.
It's
like graphic design. Like, you're quite good at graphic design and all, and video editing. Whereas, like, if we hadn't started this,
yeah, I wouldn't have
never would have done it.
Probably not.
Do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
#motivation. #.
My laptop
here's
is
the crack.
boiling. Right, we're going to end that there.
Feeling motivated?
Feeling so motivated. Let us know in the comments if you've
business
what you're at. If you're finishing uni, how do you feel? If you finished uni, how did you feel? Did you feel optimistic, worried? Let us know. Get the discussion going.
Oh yeah.
How can you not Ross?
Another thing, if you listen to our podcast, will you please go and leave a review on Apple Music? Will you subscribe on Spotify? And if you enjoy our content, go check out our YouTube channel where we put up other videos than our podcast.
Other absolute.
And subscribe.
500 subscribers just from you saying
535 subscribers.
Prove Shane Ross wrong and do me a solid and go and follow us on YouTube.
Yeah. If you do have subscribed to us for new, go comment on this video and be like, done man. But yeah, no, thank you very much. Go rate us and do all that crap.
Yeah, baby.
We'll send you a t-shirt.
Don't say that.
We're not going to send you a t-shirt.
We'll definitely cut that bit out.
Alright, see you later.